What's good, everyone? I hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel. Um, got a few people joining us. They're all starting to join now, so we're just going to go live and they can jump on. No Maz tonight, no Dan tonight, but I've got Kaz and Billy joining us ASAP. Big up LB, big up Lawless, big up Pete, and big up Errol, who are here already. I'm not feeling 100%. Lawless ain't feeling 100%. Dan's not well. Maz isn't well. Must be something going around, man. What's happening? Maybe COVID's coming back or something. But none of us are feeling great, man. Can't lie. My parents have been really bad the last few days, so I think I might have caught something from them. But maybe I caught something from yesterday's game, which is where we're going to start before everyone else comes on. Listen, it was a game where I was quite disappointed and deflated, if I'm honest with you. I feel that although Tottenham played pretty well, the reason they scored was through our poor mistakes. First of all, you've got David Raya, who's gone into the goal, and he has had 2 games where he hasn't had much to do. It's a brave, ruthless, perhaps harsh move to drop Ramsdale. Raya has had a pretty average game, if I'm honest. And I think he's probably at fault along with a couple others for the first goal. Then you've got the second goal, which is an experienced head of 32-year-old Jorginho, who decides instead of to keep it simple and pass it to Saliba or to Ben White or even back to David Raya, he's going to try and just spin on the ball himself. Now, I'm all for people making mistakes and understand footballers make mistakes, but I get really frustrated and actually quite peeved when Arsenal fans start to tell me that the reason we're making mistakes is because we've got a young squad. Well, this guy's 32 years old. He's not a young player. He's an experienced head who's come on to keep things simple and pass it sideways, which everyone slates him for. My God, I wish he would have passed it sideways yesterday. And let's be fair, it was a fair result. I don't think Mikel Arteta did himself any favours whatsoever. He's got injuries at the moment, which I have some sympathy for. Yes, we've lost 6 players in 6 games, blah, blah, blah. But when you're playing Jesus as a left winger and Eddie goes up top and you've got Reece Nelson, who signed a 2-year contract for no reason because he can't get in the side, and Emil Smith-Rowe, who now seems to be our 9th choice forward, there's some problems there. I'll be banging on the door. I'll be, oh, Mikel, what's happening here? What are you putting your best centre forward on the left wing for ahead of me? So I'm now behind Martinelli, Trossard, Eddie, Jesus, Saka, Havertz, and Vieira. I need another club. So I'm a bit peeved, if I'm honest. Defensively, let ourselves down yet again. Apart from Saliba, who can hold his head up high, I don't think anybody Arsenal players played well. But LB, I'll come to you, bro. What do you make of the North London derby?
I think it was all right game. I thought Spurs obviously going to come away from the game happier of the two, getting a point there where they've struggled in recent history. It's a decent result. Terrible result really again for Arsenal, dropping points, 4 points behind City now. Providing that City and Arsenal win the next game next week, it means that realistically you have to beat us at the Emirates. So yeah, I mean it's another game. I've watched every single Arsenal game in the league this year. I didn't watch the Champions League game because obviously Bayern United was on, so I watched that. But every game I've watched Arsenal in the league this year, I don't think you played well. I do not think you played well in any of the games. And if any Arsenal fans want to say that that's cap and that you have fairs, don't bother me. Do you know what I mean? I've said all along that I think we're going to win the league, and you know I give you credit for getting as many points as you have done, considering you've not played well. I just think that you're seriously struggling. Ironically, you did actually create a few chances against Spurs. Some of them, obviously, Spurs created them themselves. But I don't think you're creating chances as freely as you was. I think Arteta hasn't helped with some of the tactical changes. I think you're massively missing Xhaka. And I just think that I told you all along, bro. You know what I mean? Since the start of the season, I don't really see Arsenal up there, man, as like proper contenders. I just think that I know flip-flopped a bit on it, but I've always had that in the back of my mind. I think you've regressed, bro. Genuinely. Not massively. I'm not saying you've dropped off, but I do think that you've gone ever so slightly backwards. I think when you get to the opposition's final third, I just don't think you look very dangerous, to be honest. I
can't even disagree. And I know we've got no Rice, no Partey, no Trossard, no Martinelli, no Timber, no Vieira now as well. It seems Saka looked like coming off of a bit of a problem as well. But even when we had those, we still didn't look convincing to me. And I've said this at the start of the season. I didn't feel like against Forest, Palace, Fulham, or even Everton last week that we were totally convincing. The scoreline suggests that we haven't been convincing. We haven't blew teams away. For me, we played our best football in the Champions League on Wednesday, and everybody got a bit excited. Unfortunately, Arteta didn't go with that team. He stuck Jesus on the left and Eddie, who, by the way, was a disgrace and should have got sent off, to be honest, because it was absolutely horrendous, that tackle on the keeper. I mean, he could have broken his leg there. I don't know what the guy's doing. He's missed a sitter. Jesus, to be fair, also not clinical enough. Sorry, I really like the player.
Told you that when you signed him, bro. I told all Arsenal fans that.
Yeah.
I said when you signed him, I said you'll find out in due course that he is a better winger than he is a striker. And all Arsenal fans last season, when the season started and he was bagging in goals for fun, were saying, "Nah, you don't know what you're talking about. Pep didn't use him in the right way." All right, okay.
Well, he played as a winger. He played as a winger. He wasn't bad, actually, Jesus. Just misses chances, man. You can't nip the ball off Maddison and put it over. You just can't do that, man. It's just mad. Big up, Kaz, by the way. Thanks for joining. Obviously, Dan's not about tonight. Kaz has joined in. Legend, man. How you doing, bro?
Don't worry, man. The better replacement is here. Don't worry.
Yeah, you know. Talk to me, man. Arsenal. Go for it.
How do I put this? Just been put in your place a little bit, haven't you? Like Liverpool taking their bridesmaid spot back. I think there's more issues at Arsenal than we think and can see on the pitch. I don't think Arsenal are in any worries. By the base of even the season, I don't think no one was going to win it. I thought Arsenal might have nicked it if you started the way you started last season, but if you like it or not, Man City's going to do a 4P, and this is probably going to be their easiest title in a long time. So even if you're not winning it, who cares if you finish second or third? You're fine. That's it. You're fine. And there's nothing more to it. I think just if you're talking about the Arsenal as in the game itself, I mean, Tottenham showed a bit more fight than what you boys did. They wanted it more. They were hungry. Other than that, everything's dandy. You're better away from home than that. You're better away from home than you are at your own ground. That's why I think you need to sort it. If anything, if I'm not trying to be too harsh, because I wanted to be too harsh, we'll be having another conversation like earlier about Saka and Erdegaard. You know what I mean? Your favourite star boys. So, yeah, new contract.
Better than Ozil Odegaard, yeah? What's...
I'd have Odegaard over. I'm not going to even mention Ozil, man. I can't. I don't. I'd have no time for that guy, man. So I take, as I said to you, I take Dimitri Payet over that guy, man. He's absolute waste of mentality wise. Anyway, Lawless, seeing as you've got some chat, you was top four. Arsenal going to come fourth. Spurs going to come third. Liverpool coming second. Man City first. Was that the prediction?
That was.
I guess you're staying by that now. 6 games in.
Well, it's not looking so crazy. You thought I was mad, to do that. And you had Spurs, for the first time in a very long time, come to your ground and put it on you like that. I've watched a lot of North London derbies at the Emirates, and they've been mostly one-sided affairs in Arsenal's favour. And this is a fixture you got 6 points in last season. You've dropped 2 of them already, and it's going to be very difficult when you go to their ground. And I said this weeks ago, and I said this was a prediction. Arsenal aren't going to be as good as they were last season. It's not sustainable. And Arsenal fans lost their mind. It's showing itself to be true. I'm being proved right. And it's going to happen a lot this season. I think people are going to have to eat some humble pie, really and truly, because you're kind of fortunate to get anything. You said, Potts, their goals came for our own mistakes. How did your goals come? A bad own goal, deflection, and an unfortunate penalty. Handball. That's it. Apart from those bits of luck, what were you really doing? Obviously, Jesus missed that chance.
Oh, we missed sitters, didn't we? Let's be real. Jesus missed 2 minutes to the score, and then Eddie. That's 3, Eddie missed a sitter. I don't know why he's not squaring that. He's tried to beat him in the near post. It's never going in. And Jesus should have scored the one that he took off Maddison. And to be fair, in the first few minutes, Saka's cross to him was perfect. He just needed to put it in. It was a good save from Bukayo, but he's just got it straight to the keeper, hasn't he? You've got to be putting them in. So for me, the game should be 3-0 up already, or 3-1. You can call it at half time, and it's a different game. But we're not clinical enough, man. And defensively, we're not good enough. At home, we're away, like Kaz said, away. Clean sheets happen. Away, we win games of football. We look to control it. At the Emirates, I don't know what it is. I don't know if we get overexcited, if we just lose concentration. I've no idea. But the last clean sheet we kept, other than PSV and the other night, the last clean sheet we kept in the league was our last game of last season against Wolves. It's just crazy. And before that, it was about 7 or 8 games before that as well. It's crazy. We can't do it, man.
but Kaz said like, oh, you don't have to worry. Yeah, maybe you don't have to worry about top four. You're going to get fourth or third, whatever reason, but you're not going to challenge. And that was the big chat from Arsenal fans. Oh, last season we challenged, so this season, we want to at least challenge again, if not win the league. And Champions League hasn't even really got going. You've played one game against PSV. When those fixtures start coming thick and fast, and you start playing big boys, I'm telling you, it's going to take its toll. So, yeah, you've got injuries. Was you expecting anything else? Maybe, okay,
No.
there's a few more than...
Well, this is what I said to the fan base. I said we ain't got a strong enough squad, but I was told that it was good enough. But
don't you think that's a bad... Don't you think that's like embarrassing that you haven't got a strong enough squad with the amount of money that you've spent? It's not through lack of spending. You spent a shitload of money. You should have...
no, I'm not saying we ain't spent... I'm not saying we don't spend money, but we ain't spent enough, have we? Or we haven't spent it on the right players. One or the other.
Exactly. You ain't spent it well.
No,
you ain't spent it well. And I said this on WhatsApp today in the group chat, yeah? When you're spending all of this money and you're still having to play the same players into the ground, that has to be on the manager. Because you can sit there and talk about Saka, he's knackered, he's this, he's that. Well, where's the rotation for him? Where's the depth? Like the kid needs a rest. So
but we haven't got any. That's what I'm saying. Then there's a difference between depth and strength in depth. They're two different things, man. We've got depth, we've got loads of depth, but they ain't good enough. So if you're bringing on Cedric Suarez,
you know what the best thing about Arsenal though is, Potts, is the fact you might have got this window wrong for now, other than Timber, I would say, but it's the fact you can probably still address it next window and still look like a force because your team is young enough. That's
yeah, I mean, we linked with Ivan Toney today in January. That'd be a brilliant signing.
Havertz might cost your manager his
Forget
job,
that
mate.
guy, man. Forget that guy, man.
It might cost him his job, mate.
I know Errol likes him, but forget that guy, man. That guy
Errol, mate. You're. I remember what you were saying on that. He's gonna really make you look silly on this show, mate. He's really gonna make Havertz, mate. Jesus. When's he gonna prove you right?
That's fine. No, that's fine, because I did caveat all of my comments towards Havertz with if there was any manager in the league that I think is going to get an actual tune out of him, it's Jurgen Klopp. So I'm not wholly surprised that he's struggling. But
do you want him, Errol?
So
do you want him? You can have him.
Yeah.
No, it's not about the fact that he would be good for Liverpool. I just think there would be a synergy between him and Klopp, where Klopp, as I say, there was a period in time where we was like predicted to obviously put a bid in for him, and the idea was that he was going to be the Firmino replacement. Now, when you drop those kind of bars to me, I can see the sense. If Klopp's going to give him the Firmino blueprint, let's see how Havertz adapts in the role, and I thought there's a potential for that. Obviously, his career at Chelsea petered out, and Chelsea fans aren't in love with him. They was happy to send him on the way. They thought he was doing the best thing, getting him rid of him, and he's not hit the ground running at Arsenal. There are a few factors when you've got to look at that, but ultimately, he is going to be judged on how he performs this season in the league for Arsenal. And at the minute, he's struggling to even get into their side.
So you're holding your hands up. Are you going to hold your hands up on it, Errol? Or are you still going to go, we need to give it more time? You're going to hold your hands up or not?
Well, we're 6 games into what you want me to write off. A player that doesn't play for my team, that I've got no stocks in whatsoever, and you want me to write him off? No, I'm going to give him the whole season.
I didn't say write him off. I'm asking you a question. Are you going to hold your hands up?
I can give Havertz the whole season because it doesn't affect me or my team a Ross. It makes no difference to what he does. Unless he bags a brace and a hat-trick at the Emirates and at Anfield. It's the only time it really affects my team. Outside of that, I can give him all season. He could come clutch last 10 games of the season and get Arsenal into a semi-final or a quarter or a final of the Champions League, and the conversation's completely different. So let's just
65 mil, man. He's got to start kicking on sooner rather than later, man.
Yeah, but you've got to apply that pressure to Arsenal fans next. There's no point trying to put it on my neck. I'm good.
Well, I mean, Arsenal fans have already given up on him, most of them anyway. Like, you're the one who's still waving your pom-poms for him, right?
Havertz, you're never going to get Havertz doing the business in the Premier League. It doesn't matter what team he plays for. I said it to you boys last season when we talked about Havertz. He's not built for the Premier League. He's not a Premier League player. Go send him back to Bundesliga, and you'll see him start to turn it on. He's not a Premier League player. I personally don't see him being a success in the Premier League. That matter who he plays.
Not aware. And for 65 mil, Pete, I mean, that's the problem for me. The fact that you spent 65 million pound of your budget, which was supposed to go on players to bridge the gap between yourself and Manchester City. You spent it on Havertz. I think that's a madness. Listen, I think that that Arsenal, I think, getting a top four, as Kaz said earlier, whether you finish second, third, fourth, or fifth, obviously this year, doesn't really fucking matter. But I've said it. I said the same thing as Kaz when you signed him. I think that Arteta might have signed his own P45 with the signing of Havertz. I really do, man. Because if I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm fuming that he spent that money.
You could have got Barella for that money, man. Barella.
Bro, don't even do it, Castro, because you'll spend an hour going through all the players that you could have gone through.
My manager did it as well, Mason Mount. But the difference is, I don't think Mason Mount's coming to be a starter anymore. The way things are going. So,
have you given up them pots? Do you still think you can win the league? I know it's early days, but where are you at now?
No, I've never said we win the league, bro. But I do think that we can still challenge because we've got players to come back, and well, it depends what you mean by challenge. I think we won't win the league. There'll be a certain amount of points between Man City. It'll get to about end of March and we'll fall off. And then April, May, they'll do what they always do and they'll go win it by potentially more points than last year. But I think we'll be there or thereabouts.
You have to beat us in
the challenge is for people to believe that you can win the league. Like there's a chance. We
got to beat Man City in a couple of weeks and then they might go, oh, okay, they can actually do something they ain't done before. But I don't see us doing that. Personally, I know they've got Rodri out, but we got players out now. The only good thing is that I've been told today that Partey, Rice, Martinelli and Trossard are all back for City. So that's really good news, man. We need them, all of them back. So let's hope that's true and we can then give City a good game, which is what we need to do. I'm with LB. I haven't seen us play well all season. If I'm honest, I haven't walked away going, yeah, City are going to be scared of this team. And we haven't strengthened them last season. I know Timber got injured, which is bad news, but we sold Tierney. No idea why. We got Rice, but we really only just upgraded Xhaka. And some people might even say that Xhaka is actually missed in the midfield still. Certainly would have been yesterday. So there's problems, man. And Havertz is a shocking signing so far. I know what Errol's saying. It's only 6 games. I get it. But he's had 3 years. He's had loads of pre-season at Arsenal playing every game. And he's had 6 games where he's featured in every game. And he's looked woeful, in my opinion. Now, people will say, oh, actually, he did all right when he come on. So he flicked the ball and he passed it well and he chested it. Like, okay, well, El Neni could have done that. You know, like he wasn't £65 million, man. This is poor for me, man. But listen, we move, man. Unless anyone else has got any more to say on Arteta or on Arsenal. Any questions?
I'm just going to weigh in slightly because and Errol will know this. I had Arsenal to win comfortably. I genuinely thought they would, and equally, I had it down as Tottenham's big test. This was Tottenham's big test this season to see like what their minerals were. Were they able to stand up in a big game and be counted? And I have to say, I thought there was an overconfidence from Arsenal. I think from the Arsenal fans and I think from the players going into the game, I thought they were going to run away with it. I think they thought they were going to run away with it and it would be an absolute smash. And it wasn't. And I have to, at this point, give Tottenham their flowers. I thought, although they only got a point, I was actually really impressed with what I saw. I thought they were organised. I thought they played some really good football at times, better football than Arsenal. I thought Maddison really kind of him and Son are building something big.
And Bissouma, man, Maddison and Son for me, them three.
Those two in attacking areas, they're already in sync. They're 6 games in and they already know each other's game. And I think they could be a real threat this season against a lot of big teams. And they've really impressed me. They really did. And I didn't think they would. In this game. So, I think maybe this is what Arsenal needed for their season to maybe be brought a little bit back down to earth and regroup and go again. Like you said, you got players coming back.
Like West Ham fans.
That wasn't me. I'm not saying that. But with Tottenham, they're going to have massive. Fair play to Tottenham.
How long?
They were impressive.
Yeah, they were. Postecoglou, to be fair, has gone playing in 6 games. And, Spurs are 1 game a week, could quite easily get Champions League this season, no doubt. I think Mikel Arteta, there's pressure on him, man, with this ruthlessness about Raya and Ramsdale. If that doesn't start happening in other positions, then I'm going to start questioning it. If Eddie Nketiah doesn't get dropped for the next game, then why was Ramsdale dropped? It's got to work consistently.
You gave him a new contract. He's on what, 100 grand a week?
Yeah. And we give Nelson 100k a week as well, and we haven't. Well, it's just a madness, man. But
What would you make
he's
about that Ramsdale clapping the save thing? Because I see a bit of discourse on it from some people are actually.
I think it's
saying-
cringy,
Weird.
man. I think
It's,
it's cringy,
it's
mate.
weird. I don't think there's nothing wrong with clapping your teammates on, mate. You do it all the time. If anyone's played Saturday, Sunday, even if you go 7 aside, 5 aside, what are you doing on the sidelines when you see someone banging a goal or something like that? You start clapping, mate. They all say goalkeepers have a weird relationship, right? It's just cheering him on. What's he gonna do? Look like a grumpy little cunt? Like
exactly. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
He's in a lose-lose
OTT,
situation,
it's a
isn't
little
it?
bit OTT for me.
I swear there was a thing where Ortega said something to Edison about where he's going to put a penalty or something like that, and then Edison saves it or whatever. Like something recently, I'm pretty sure. Like, what is that weird as well? Come on, man. This is
No, that's
this
a different
is not-
situation, though, bro. That's a different situation.
How is it different?
Why?
He's
Because
captain-
they've just signed
You're in a-
Raya, and
in a derby,
they've dropped
You're in a
Ramsdale.
derby. You're in a derby, and you
Ramsdale's
clap.
just been dropped, and
If
now he's
you-
there clapping
in
his
a
fucking
derby,
mate on.
You're in a
What
derby.
you say, LB? Are you saying it's like it's kind of a bit fake? You saying
I'm
it's
saying
fake?
if you think that Ramsdale sat there happy, you're delusional. He's
Yeah, but
he's
what are you
already
gonna-
planning a move out of Arsenal already.
Do
I
you
can
know what?
guarantee
Do
you.
you know what? Though,
why
LB.
I just
He
don't
can't
get it.
win, man. Let me tell you why he can't win. He sits there like this at Everton, and everyone goes, "Oh my God, look at him!" Now he's gone, "Oh, good save." And everyone's gone, "What an embarrassment!" What's he
This
supposed
is-
to do then? Just walk
this
off?
is what I
I'm
mean.
not coming on the.
People-
I'm not going to go and sit on the bench. Do you know what I
People-
mean? What is he supposed to
People
do?
want other people to be miserable and see because if he was sitting there with a grumpy face, I'd be like, yeah, you know what? There's something not right there. But because he's clapping, what is he sarcastically clapping? That's a world-class save that he makes, and you're not going to clap it. Flip it. No,
No, I back that. But
Guarantee you said on your TV, oh, that was a good save.
yeah, but Cass, let's be also honest.
Come
The
on,
guy does not want to be there now. He's gonna want to leave Arsenal. He ain't gonna want to sit on the bench, is he?
Yeah, maybe this season he's going to reassure it, but I don't think it's to a point. If it's next season and he stays there and they haven't got him a move or he doesn't get his place back, then by all means you probably can have a bit of unrest because you are a top goalkeeper at the end of the day or one of the better ones in the league. But right
Man,
now,
you would have him.
I don't know about that, Errol. Just because you don't like Anana, mate. I mean, your goalkeeper's getting old, isn't he? I saw some of your fans flipping, not wanting Kelleher no more over the last goal. Come on.
But
No,
how
no,
does
no.
how does a non have a failed
That's
comp
not
already?
nonsense.
Like let's
Our
talk about that.
goalkeepers-
Lawless, anyone
can't-
can make a foul comp about anyone in their position. Like James
Yeah,
Maddison
of course.
yesterday, if we're keeping it a buck, if we take away his passing goals and all that, you can make a foul comp of him getting pressed all the time. Because it's just the way football is. Not everything's perfection.
But we've got the best keeper in the league, though. So
That's nice. For how long, Errol?
We ain't replacing him.
For how long, Errol? For how long, Errol?
Contract. I think
Yeah,
his
yeah,
contract's
yeah.
till
For how long,
2027.
Errol?
How
Yeah,
old is he?
also,
How
your
old is
manager also said that you got the best right back in the world, the best centre back in the
We
world,
do.
the best
We
everything in
do.
the world, the best mentality in the world. And
We
guess
do.
what? You finished below us for the second time in 3 years. There you go, mate. Jog
Happy
on.
days. What did you win? And what trophy did you win for that?
Mate,
What
it
trophy? What
doesn't matter.
trophy? What
It doesn't-
trophy did you jack shit?
in the last
Oh,
3
what?
years, what did you win as well? What? What?
We've-
The double,
last
the
3
double,
years, we've done
the
a double, yeah.
domestic double. So what's
Calm.
the difference? Who gives a
Calm.
shit? If it's not
Calm.
Premier, this is
And
what I
then if
mean.
we go
here.
4 years, we've won the league. And if you go 5
If
years,
it's
we've won
not
the
Premier
Champions
League,
League.
no,
And
no,
then
no,
we
one
won the
sec, one sec.
Champions League finals. We've been and done it all. We
Oh,
won.
stop.
We went the World Cup.
Guys,
as well. If I
Errol,
remember
stop
correct.
talking about history that doesn't make it
That's
relevant
not history.
anymore.
That's not
Yes, it is
history, bro.
history.
That's
Well,
not
5
bro.
years ago is history now, mate. That's like me talking about the Fergie era. Stop
No,
it.
no, 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 no,
If
no,
we
no,
want
no.
to shift
That's a
narratives, yeah.
decade.
If
That's
you
a
want to shift
decade.
narratives, we can talk about how you were 10 years ago under Stuart Downing and that, right? Because it wasn't that long ago, right? Anyways, I'm not going to do that. The
You
whole
seem
point is
stressed, bro. You
shitty,
seem stressed.
shitty Man
I
United.
just said Ramsdale would be a good keeper for Man U.
Shitty Man
And
United
look
in the
at
last
the
10 years, right? Shitty Man United of the last 10 years, somehow in the last 3 of how bad we've been, has finished above the mighty Liverpool of the decade, the bridesmaid of the decade, whatever you want to call it, Man City, right? You finished below us 2 out of 3 years. Guess what? You won 1 FA Cup more than us. Guess what? That's not good enough.
Okay.
For you, it might be good enough, but to me, it's not.
Okay.
So if you want to be satisfied with that, be your 1 Premier League in 33 years or whatever the hell it is, 30 years, be my guest.
Say less, bro. You seem stressed.
Well, let's segue nicely into Liverpool because they did get a win. And I must say, I watched it, and I said on Kaz's channel, Never a Foul earlier, I said, Liverpool defensively still worry me, man. And if West Ham would have been able to head a ball, it could have been 2-3 goals up. Not even joking. Wolves, likewise, could have been 2-0 last week. No, you can sit there like that, that's fair enough. But defensively, bro, I don't think you'll challenge City either if you're going to be defended personally. Because when there's a better side, that was City, it would have been 3-0, man.
Let's do this
So-
the reverse. Let's flip this on its head. I'm not here for
flip it,
this
flip
fucking
it,
anti-Liverpool prop right now. We're flipping this on its head right here, right now. Let's start giving Liverpool their flowers. We can chat about their defense because we're going to be chatting about their defense all season. Let it be known. But let's talk about how quality we are and some of the players we've got in our squad right now that deserve special mentions. And I'll let you guys take the floor because you seem to have watched our game and previewed what we did, especially you, Lawless. Who impressed you from this Liverpool side on the weekend?
Well, Zabazai, I thought he was impressive. I thought he was impressive. Yeah, he was good. Not Van Dijk. I don't think he was. By the way, but I'm going to get into the game. I'm going to save it. How we may have been robbed from this game, but yeah, man, like you had some good. You got strength in depth up front. You're very top heavy, and I think that Potts makes a point because you are very top heavy. You're going to need to outscore every team, and you did it on the
That's
day.
what I'm getting at.
And Pot, I've been saying that since the start of the season. I think that is going to be our go-to motive this year, and I'm not mad at it, to be honest with you. I think when we was not necessarily top heavy, but when we was more of an attacking front foot team in the early iterations of Klopp, our defense was, we had a Mignolet and a Lovren, and defensively, no matter how much you could will those lads on to stay switched on, it was only a matter of time before the wheels fell off, whatever you was trying to put together. You needed to bring in a Fabinho. You needed to bring in the Van Dijks of this world. You needed to bring in the Allisons. And eventually, once you got those pieces of your jigsaw, the front then had the balance to say, right, well, we don't need to be so gung-ho because we've got that balance and we can kind of manage and see out games, 1s, 2-0s, whatever it might be. I think we are, as you say, top heavy again, which I'm fine with. I still consider the best front through 5 options at any one time to put on the pitch for your front 3 in the league. I still don't think there's a better forward line available to teams other than what Liverpool have got. And on top of that, I genuinely have faith that the back line and the spine eventually, apart from the DM situation, that is still a big question mark because we don't know who is going to be the individual that's going to stamp their position and say, yo, that's my place and I'm going to hold it down. But defensively, I think the fact that you've got Joe Gomez as your 3 or 4, you've got Matip as your 3 or 4 in the last couple of games that they've both played fairly well. Can't really slate them for any particular reason. I've been heavily critical of Joe Gomez. I felt that Matip's legs might have been on the way out. It looks like he's getting a second burst of energy. Sound, I'll keep it. But I've got faith that Virgil van Dijk will regain some level of form that brings him back to the top etches of the Premier Leagues when people are having conversations about who's the best centre-half. I think he will still be in that conversation come the end of the season, even if he hasn't started the season the best, and I'll be the first to admit that. 17 games unbeaten, as Alex Brunn says there in the chat. And then on top of that, we have got a world-class goalkeeper that more often than not in the moments where you need to count on someone to dig you out of a game and save you. He did it against my man up top there, Almiron, in a Newcastle game when we was already up Schitt's Creek. He's done it against Wolves. He's done it against Lawless's boy there now, Souček, because he should have played it.
Don't forget Billy. He needs to hold some slander.
Well, Billy's team didn't really turn up to the party, unfortunately, for Billy. But at the same time, I still think it stands true that even though we are top heavy, there is where we couldn't compete. That first season where we was top heavy and we couldn't compete with City, and it was done by Christmas. I think this year, if by Christmas we're still in it, I think the lads from a mentality perspective can look at it and say, well, how do we challenge? How do we put a challenge together now? Is it continuing being top heavy and outscoring everybody? Or do we look to now get the CDM in January and do we look to kind of manage and balance the team in the back half of the season a little bit better? But it's not to say that we couldn't still get out of it by November. Who knows how games are going to go? But right now, it doesn't look like another team that can hold a torch to City at the minute.
You need to relax, though, Errol, man. I think you just need to relax because
you was getting carried the other day. You was doing Antonio chatting shit, saying that you were going to finish above this one and that one, and Man U and Arsenal, all these teams. So you need to relax and let me land. Right? Because I've had enough of you.
Listen, you're going from you're going all the way to Australia and Tokyo with how long it takes you to land. But all I want to say is you're overstating how good your attack is. Yeah, you're strong there, but let's not get it twisted. You did not score those goals out of attacking brilliance. Let's be real. There was no attacking brilliance on display. The penalty was.
I object because that's bullshit.
Where was the brilliance? Where was it? Was
have you watched Nunez's goal back? Have you watched Nunez's goal back? That is out of the top.
I'm not being funny. Did they not pop like 30 shots at you the other day?
He was peppering the goal, bro.
Anyone can pop shots.
I can't lie, Lawless. You had amazing chances to get back into the game and stuff, but Liverpool,
you were always in it, and I said that to you last night.
Yeah, and say Liverpool didn't pepper you lot in attack.
Yeah, but most of the shots, like there weren't many times where I looked at Areola and was like, "Wow, he pulled off a brilliant save there, like he did against Brighton or against Man City." There was like tame efforts directly at him. So everyone can look at stats and go, "Oh, look at the shots they've had," but you have to look at the quality of the shots.
So, right, then, so you're trying to tell me, unpack that second goal for me and tell me at which point in that second goal there is no attacking brilliance.
He just stuck his leg. It was awful tracking. It was awful defending. You cannot tell me.
All I'm hearing is, even as a United fan, to sit here and hear Potts not really rate Liverpool, even early on my own show, and you Lawless and stuff, you lot are weirdos, bro. You lot cannot give proper props when it's due. Liverpool have been nothing but amazing considering who they've had out in their defense. They've had a kid called Kwanzaa who's 20 years of age. Matip, a Gomez will break down at any time. Come on, man. They've been scoring good goals.
Yeah, Kaz, you're flipping, man. You're flipping. You just had a rant about Errol, about how poor they are. Now you want to give us flowers.
No. I didn't say anything about this season. I didn't say anything about this season about them. I didn't say anything about them this season.
To be fair, going forward, I said to Errol, going forward, you're fine. Defensively, I have problems for you. That's all I've said about Liverpool. And I think if there's a better side, that City playing against like the way that Wolves did, or that's the thing, man. Like West Ham, if like Antonio could actually head the ball and Souček, fair play, that was a good save to be fair, actually. But you had chances, man. Wolves as well. Cunha, was it last weekend? That could be 2-0. That's all I'm saying, Errol.
Well, and I know, and I hear it, bro, and I've said that, but I can make my peace with that. If we keep going on and beat teams all season 3-1, then it's happy days. My thing is, I'm not pushing the boat out and saying that we're gonna A, win the league, or B, that we're gonna run City and be as close as we have in the past, where we've been the bridesmaid, as Kaz says, by 1 point. I'm not gonna say that right now, early days. Do you know? Because the truth of the matter is, we haven't seen a test yet, but. Like Tobe said yesterday in the chat, Tobe's is chatting to us saying, wait till Sunday, I can't wait to play us. Rare. Like Pete said there about Spurs, they're minerals now. That's what we was assessing.
Newcastle was a test, though, was it not, Errol? St James's Park, I think that was a bit of a test.
It would be.
LB, I'll keep it 100 with you, LB. 11 versus 11. I still expect Liverpool to beat Newcastle home and away. We did it last season. So if we want to better ourselves, we've got to do the exact same thing this season and kick on and beat the teams that we couldn't put to bed last year. The fact that where the challenge came was the fact that we went down to 10 men. So when it went down to 10 men...
last season, though. Let's be real. Didn't Newcastle finish last season?
But that's not that you're missing the point that I'm saying. I'm saying to you that...
Like we should be favourites at James's Park right now in 2023.
Why would we not? When we go head to head versus them, they've got a woeful record against us. We beat them home and away last year. No,
you're taking in like Ashley error and all this shit.
I'm
this
not.
is a new Newcastle.
Yeah, but their manager Eddie Howe hasn't beat Klopp for God knows how long either. And
he's managing Bournemouth. You can't talk about Bournemouth records and shit.
So what can I talk about then? Let me say this then. So what can I talk about? We beat them last year, home and away.
Yeah. I'm saying it is a test, though. I'm sort of big
and this is what I'm saying
for getting through the game.
I'm not saying that it's not necessarily a test, but if 11 versus 11, if we're going to better what we did last season, we beat Newcastle home and away, I'd expect us to do the same again and then put to bed the teams that we struggled to beat last year.
That's not what LB's saying there. LB's saying, is it not a test?
But
we're not saying whether you're going to win or lose. We're saying, is it not a test?
No, I get what I was saying, but I'm just saying, I'm giving Liverpool praise. I know you beat Newcastle all the time, but I'm still saying that I think that was a really good result. And I think that game showcased why Liverpool will be in the top 3 come the end of the season.
It was a test, but what I'm saying was what made it more testing than we would have probably considered it was the circumstances of going down to 10 men and still having to then fight back and work our way back into the game and not be put to bed before we got the chance to get back in the game. And Darwin pops up with 2. So it was a test, but it was contextually because of the situation and the circumstance we found ourselves in. We came out through adversity. We came through that. Whereas now with Spurs, you look at it thinking, well, it's going to be a fresh 11 versus a fresh 11, provided nothing goes tits up early doors and someone loses a man. it's going to be a difficult game because Spurs' tails are up. Don't forget, City had already beaten Newcastle. So Newcastle were trying to bounce back. Right now, Spurs are on the upward trajectory, and so are Liverpool. So we're both now with new aspirations thinking, all right, let's book heads. Let's see who comes out on top now. Spurs aren't going to want to back down at home against us because they've got their tails up and thinking, actually, we went toe-to-toe with Arsenal at their ground. We can do it again this week. So that, for me, is where the first of these new tests, and in terms of upwards of caliber of test, yeah, Spurs and Newcastle are probably the same sort of caliber. But again, as you start to get deeper into the season, it's how you now start to take out and dispatch these teams.
Do you think you'll drop points against Spurs, Errol?
Pardon?
I think you'll drop points against Spurs. Do you?
It's fine, bro. I think we'll get 3 points because Spurs have got a shit record against us as well. We beat them and we drew with them last year. What?
I mean, Spurs got a shit record against Arsenal as well, but
love these records.
And that's what I'm saying. But this is what I've just said to you. This is where the test for me begins. And if we come out of that unscathed, happy days. I'm still not going to say we're going to challenge LB and we're going to end up 1 point behind City. But the longer we're in it, the more pressure that we apply. It's as simple as that. Liverpool right now are happy to be the chasing pack. As long as we're within 3 to 4 points of City, with it all to play for, we get to the new year, we get reinforcements, and those lads can look at themselves and say, are you up for a title challenge, or are you up to push the City team for as much as we possibly can?
Unbeaten against Spurs in 12 games. Damn.
Told you, bro. We turn up against most of the big teams for the most part. So
yeah, that's facts. That's facts. It's not even like we're slating Liverpool and like, oh my God, they're shocking. I feel personally like you'll always be all right because you're going to score goals. And I'll big up Darwin Nunez as well, a player I've always rated and liked because I think he's a good player and he got a lot of stick last season because people started to compare him to Haaland for God knows what reason. For me, I always thought he was a good player and I knew he'd come good this season. But I don't think defensively Liverpool can go into any game now we'll be fine at the back. We always score goals. We fight.
Had a penalty, by the way. No one's even.
No, you
couldn't.
You couldn't. He wins the ball. You'd have never got a pen for that. VAR looked at it for about 15 seconds, if that, and it was just.
Liverpool, as they say, mate. Liverpool.
Yeah. No, bro. But defensively, I think we will only get better as the season goes on. If teams can't start putting us to bed, like when we used to go 1-0 down, you could see the writing was on the wall and we'd crumble. The arses would fall out of them and he'd shit the bed. We're going 1-0 down in situations now, or where teams are equalising and we're finding another gear and we're digging deep and we're going again. I don't feel the same stress as I felt 12 months ago when we conceded the goal. That to me last year, conceding the goal was the be all and end all because you knew you was done in the game. You knew it was we had to go to the well, dig deep again, and chances are we weren't going to come out with the 3 points. This time now, there's a chance that we can come away with the 3 points. And if we do, we do. If we don't, it is what it is.
The only thing, I've got one criticism though, is what I noticed for the Europa away leg, you needed your
big boys
to come on and do the difference. And that's the only way I think of it. If you look to go and win the competition, which I think you're not asked about it. I don't think Liverpool are asked about Europa. But if you are,
they are, Kaz. They are, Kaz.
I don't think if you're putting a second string team out against Lask away from home, not even at home, away from home.
Yeah, but it's just a start, bro. It's just a start, bro.
I hear it, but because I don't know. I just feel like they don't care. I think even
to be honest, I think because we've got a very mixed squad in terms of age and profile at the minute, and obviously new faces and new characters. I completely take your point on the European front. I think Klopp is putting a bit of a gauntlet down to those younger lads and those fringe players to say, this is going to be your until we get out of the groups, touch wood, we get out of groups. But until we do, this is where you're going to get the majority of your game time. So show me what you're made out of. There will be the big boys there that'll travel with us, that'll bail us out if we need it. But I don't want to be relying on them. So I think
you'll win it, man. I think you'll win the Europa League. I've said it from the start.
I think you've got to expect to win it. I think you've got to expect to win it.
You know my team, bro.
If you don't win the Europa, that's a failure. Just like because to be fair,
I don't think so.
We have everyone's sort of hammered Arsenal for getting knocked out by Sporting Lisbon. I think it was last season, and them getting knocked out, and there was an expectation for them to win it.
But Pete, Liverpool have won 6 Champions Leagues, mate. You know what I mean?
Exactly, which is why they should be winning the competition.
I'd argue that means
because of their pedigree and because of that team, and ultimately there's a conversation about them. They shouldn't be in Europa League. They should be in the Champions League, so they should go and win it.
That hinders their Premier League title ambitions if they have any. being in that competition.
That's what I mean.
What Errol was saying, that they're happy to be second, third, and be in and around things. They're not looking at a title.
No, because he's also just said if he's in the
mix.
mix in January, he'll look to make signings to sort of go for it. So what I'm saying if you are in the mix in January, I'd bin that Europa League off and full send the Premier League.
Well,
Liverpool winning the Europa League, man.
If they
Of course you would, LB. Of course you would, LB, because you know you're going to win it. It's easy for you to say that, bro, because you know you're going to go win the league.
If Liverpool are going to improve the squad in January, shouldn't that give them even more reinforcements in their mind to win it, because they're bolstering the squad?
Let me say
more in a stronger position.
Let me say this. This is probably what's more realistic to happen if both your situations, because you're both right. I personally think we will take it seriously once we are out of the group stages and the biggest contenders of that competition are available, and you can see your path towards the final. The point that I'd like to make, though, is the year that Liverpool won the Champions League, we was breathing down City's neck the entire way for the Premier League, and it was only when we kind of realised when we play, like coming towards the back end, that actually we're not going to win the league. So we best go and win that Champions League now. If we can balance that and find a balance, I think Klopp would be happy to take the Europa or the Premier League this season, provided it's one or the other. I don't think there's necessarily, I know you can say, oh, you've got to prioritise the Premier League, blah, blah. I think he would be in the same situation again where it was chips down against Barcelona. If we can get through this in the semi-final and get us into a final, we'll do that, because the task of getting above City now with 3 or 4 games left to go is probably just a little bit out of touch this year. With this team, we'll go again next year for the Prem, but we need to.
I don't think either. Like to close on Liverpool, I don't actually, not just Liverpool. I don't think anybody should be throwing trophies away this season.
No,
because we think we can catch Man City. Nah, man, we got to win a trophy, man. Arsenal, Liverpool, all of us have got to go for a trophy. If that means it has to be a Europa League or a Carabao Cup, go for it, because none of us are winning the league. So we're going to have to go for a cup. So I think to chuck a cup away to try and go for a title, like Arsenal did, I can understand why people were saying bigger fish to fry, blah, 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 because it was at the time looking like Arsenal could really go for it. I don't think anybody at the moment looks like they can really go for the league. So everyone's going for a cup, in my opinion. That's why I would say that. Listen, I'm going to come to Kaz next, because I know he's got to go soon. Then I'm going to touch on Pete's amazing win. Kaz, Man United are still in the mud, bruv, aren't they?
Arse and cheats, if you want to call it for what it really is. Mate, I'm on a game-by-game basis personally for Ten Hag. I've been very supportive of him. I'll be real. The only thing that's given him any sort of credit in the bank is the fact that he's had major injuries to his first team. I want to see what he's got that he's brought on the pitch, and then we'll go from there. But if you're going to play absolute degrading football against Burnley Football Club, then if you're going to do that next game against Palace, I don't really care about the Carabao Cup too much now because of all the injuries we got. If it's on Saturday and you want to play degrading football, then you better get a win. Because if you don't, I want you out. It's as simple as that. I'd rather sack that off, that crappy football, and lose, knowing that I've got something potentially going on. Do you know what I mean? Like, but if you're going to play degrading football like last season, go get me a result. Because if you don't, it's go time, really and truly. I can't sit here and tell you that we didn't park the bus against Burnley, because we did. I don't care if you got Johnny Evans at the back. You've got 5-time Champions League winner Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, who I'm not saying he's a world beater, but he's better than flipping Cullen and Brownhill on the right-hand side. Rashford, if you rate him so much, get the best tune out of him, there's no reason to be getting dominated by Burnley. Even if they only hit the post really and didn't really threaten like that, it's the fact that we're getting into areas that we were in that were threatening. That's my issue with it. So it's just not looking good right now as a whole structure. So that's the way I look at it. It was garbage. That's probably the worst game I've seen since Ollie gone to Solskjaer. Watford.
Are you any better since Ollie, Kaz?
No, of course we are. I think he's got rid of a lot of things that were garbage in the club. I just think Ollie gone to Solskjaer is the one that set us back in the first place with crappy signings like Maguire. I was excited for Sancho, so I'm not going to get onto that one, and Ronaldo. But it's not the point. The point is he's brought in a few players, and I'm not seeing any football. Like I'm not here to sit. I'm not here to watch degenerate football with Scott McTominay still in the side. Do
you genuinely think, Kaz, that Ten Hag could get sacked this season?
100%.
I do.
Really?
You know what? If
And
there's
who's
new,
coming in, though?
you know what it is. If there's new owners that come in as well, I don't know if his job's going to stay as well. So that's another bit on it. Who said that he survives there? The thing is, if you fall out, you can be as great as you are, but if you fall out with the players that are currently there, then you're gone, whether you like it or not.
How many managers are falling out with these players, though, man? Like,
I know. I know someone's going to lose to us. How many times are going to be players? How many times is that? It's not the point. It's the whole point. Is man management. Then you got to be a decent man manager. You got to find balance within it all, because I think there's players that do support him, and there's players that don't support him. Of course, obvious, but doesn't mean you can't go and play football on the pitch. That's why I don't do the. That's why I don't do the whole. It's all the Glazers' fault all the time. Like when something goes bad, I'm like, I don't give a shit. You spent some money. You got some players. Go play some football, mate. The Glazers are not on the pitch to play.
Do you own a
some
Norwich
decent
scarf, though,
football.
Kaz? Do you own one of the Norwich scarves? Have you got one?
What one
Yeah,
of
he
these?
has.
Hey, he's not ready to get it out yet. He needs to see the next couple of games.
Do you think though, right? Let me ask this.
A little bit. Are you
Go on,
still
Kaz.
David Moyes out?
Listen, I'm
Oh,
waiting
whatever
to see.
then, innit? Yeah. Ended.
I don't have other club scarves. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. I didn't know that if you wear a certain color, does that mean you support Burnley as well?
No,
You
actually,
copy their
you'll
colours
find it's
instead
a
of-
different shade. It's a different shade.
Oh, it's a different shade.
Yeah.
Turquoise.
Different shades of claret.
Oh, sorry, it's the Red Devils. Is it Red Devils or is it the Yellow and Green Devils? What is it?
I mean, when it originally was founded, it was yellow and green.
Oh, and when Man City helped you out and bailed you and gave you a lifeline and
You're digging deep here, bro.
I'm just saying. No, but who you? No, but getting off track. Who are you getting in though? Like really and truly.
Man's going back to the 1800s, man, to bury cash. Like, what's going
It
on?
doesn't matter, man. They had to go to a flipping Olympic Stadium. And they blow, like, to build their own atmosphere. They had to actually had a bubble machine and a system that had to make the amplify the whole crowd. Fake noise.
Fake noise. What are you talking about?
Fake
What
noise
is this
at the Olympic
nonsense?
Stadium. You had speakers
making
or
things
fans
up now.
cheering to amplify that stadium. Good business venture though. It's a good business move because they ran out for peanuts. Anyways, not the point. Who else we're gonna get in? I don't know. The thing is, I don't really know. And at this moment of time, I'm not really Ten Hag out. Even it doesn't matter who this club brings in. It's going to be the same shit until something changes within the club structure. Anyways,
There you go.
I'll just say this. I think it's unacceptable that 14, 15 months after Ten Hag's been at the football club, we are seeing performances like we're seeing against Burnley. I think that is embarrassing. I think it's embarrassing, and I think Kaz is right. I think from a United point of view, well, you've got to have like a journey, get behind it, And I don't like referring back to Pep, but in Pep's first year, we got battered quite a few times, but we seen what was being implemented, and you could see the journey. When you watch United, like, what was the point in getting Ten Hag? We might as well have just kept Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, mate. Like, I don't know why if because Ten Hag obviously feels that he's not got the players to play. Well, the problem is now everyone's looking at Ten Hag, got the players, because he's the one that's setting them. If he puts the players out there and they play poorly and they can't deal with it, then United fans can say, well, it's not Ten Hag's fault because he's not got the players. Well, he's not doing that. He's setting the players up to play.
There was no reason to start. There was no reason to start Scott McTominay. There was no reason to start Scott McTominay after what he did against Bayern Munich. We could have avoided that goal in general, and the referee's outpacing Scott McTominay. Allow it.
Because we normally have another Man U representative, and he made a point last week. I just want to see if you echo the same sentiments. Are Man United a big club still?
Commercially,
okay.
You can't say no to that. We just got the biggest.
They are, man. They're not as attractive, but they're still big, man.
But that's not a yes, though. That's not a resounding yes. You just said commercially.
On a footballing
That's not where you're not a big club.
The thing is, on a
to say
footballing
that though, that's damning. For you to have to say to draw for the commercial card is damning in itself. When you keep it.
We're not great on the football pitch. Of course, on the football, you're in 1 year you're in the Champions League, and the next year you're not, and then the next year you're back in the Champions League, then the next year you're not.
So Liverpool are a bigger club. Would you say that?
They're better footballing club, yeah.
Bigger club, yeah.
No, better footballing club.
Most successful club.
I knew he was going for this.
I'm just asking. Like, obviously, they've won them more trophies and all of that stuff.
Overall, they're by trophy wise, they are more successful in that. But how can you be the most successful, but you are the most successful. But when you say big club, like one Premier League to show for it in 30 years,
Man
and
United,
one
Man United, they're a huge
City didn't
club. They're
start
just not
30
acting
years
like.
ago,
They're
mate.
not acting like.
Anyways, I know, but we said that we're talking. How can you still? You still don't get me wrong. Trophy wise, successful, yeah, great, man. Aston Villa, Forest are still up there, man. Still above a lot of teams. But if we got off recent, let's be real. Like they've had a 7-year stint. Let's be honest, and one Premier League to show. Like I'm not trying to.
You've been in the wilderness for a decade.
I'm not even trying to knock you like that. But if we're gonna keep it a buck, man, you've had some shit errors as well, and more than one in the Premier League era. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not saying you're shit. I'm not trying to say you're crap or anything like that. But if you want to talk about successful, yes, back in ancient history, they were, yeah.
I'm just trying to find out who's the bigger club. That's all. It's just interesting.
Now, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to pin it. I know what you. Yeah, you always have people trying to. You can't do that to me, anyways, Lawless. You support West Ham, bro. Like,
it's not even about West Ham. I'm asking about Man United and Liverpool.
I know. But what you used to do, I used to do that for fun back in school. So,
I'm just saying, you're the top two clubs. This is a football show.
Where are you gonna go for me? Right now. We're not a great footballing club. There's nothing. It's night and day. Even though we finished above them, we don't mean nothing. They still got a Champions League under their belt in a recent history and everything else. So it is what it is.
Yeah, man, absolutely. This Lawless. Before I move to Pete, LB, and Billy, are you happy with West Ham's situation, or are you out of the title race now?
Listen.
You're below us. You're below us now.
What?
You're below Aston Villa. Have had this shit start to a season.
Yeah.
What was it you said after the? What was it? We've had Liverpool and Newcastle on the opening day,
and Chelsea.
It doesn't matter, and Chelsea, yeah.
Sorry, did we not slap Chelsea 3-1? That same Chelsea that you're wanking over getting like a tight one.
I don't know. It was Errol that mentioned it.
Well, all right, so let's talk about it. We had Liverpool at Anfield. You know, that
was it mind the gap you told me after the first week?
Listen, we're gonna come to you, mate. We're gonna come to you.
I know. I'm just getting you warmed up.
But listen, we got those two fixtures out of the way now. It's Sheffield United, who just got slapped for 8-0 next, so we can get our goal difference back up and get back up the table. I don't know who Villa's got next, but we'll climb there, right? You know what I mean?
Where is it?
Well, there
where
you go.
Is it? Oh, is that Villa? Is that Villa? To be fair,
yeah, but is Villa like this super amazing fortress? Like we win there all the time, right?
Well, not.
We've won 10 consecutive games there. To be fair,
all right, okay, but we win there. I'm just saying, this is Brighton. Who have you won against there? Who have you beat there?
Brighton, for starters.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, we did it at their ground. We slapped them, right? Okay. So we've got a good run of fixtures coming up. So I'm not going to read too much into this. We're still banging in goals. We just need to sort out these defensive issues. Mavropanos, that guy, he's knocking on the door, and I think he's going to be a top talent for West Ham.
Is he better than Aguerd Zuma?
I don't know about. It's too early to say, but with the mistakes Aguerd's making, he's knocking on the door. Zuma's been class, but a few too many mistakes. So Mavropanos, he looked great in Europe. We won our game in Europe, and who did you have in Europe? Back at top.
Okay, good side.
Yeah. Oh, is it? We only scrutinise the sides that West Ham play. Who did Liverpool play? Who did Liverpool?
It's just that Errol wasn't big enough the centre half like you were against back a topper, whoever it was.
What is it? Arsenal fans were saying, you can only beat who's in front of you. You can only beat who's in front of you. Well,
yeah, exactly. But I don't go big enough the centre half. Say he's knocking on the door. That's all. But please continue.
Sorry, was you not waxing lyrical about Mavropanos? I loved him, and
no, I never waxed lyrical. I never waxed lyrical. I told you he's a half decent centre half, and as a youngster, he looked all right, but he wasn't good enough for us. So maybe he's got better now. I don't know. Anyway, please continue.
Well, I'm just saying. I think I'm not saying he should start. I'm just saying, he'll be knocking on the door if Aguerd keeps making mistakes. That's why he'll be knocking on the door. Can't allow those mistakes. Good player, but got mistakes in him. So we'll look. we'll see. I'm relaxed. We got those fixtures out of the way. We was in the game and just silly mistakes. So
Still
obviously
seventh, yeah. Still seventh.
Yeah, we're still seventh. So now,
No,
I
you
wanna
still
see
think
us-
you'll come seventh. You still think you'll come seventh.
Yeah, enough. How Man City and Liverpool can't change my mind on that. They can't change my mind. I thought,
Okay.
we had a good showing against both teams until the latter half of the game. We need to manage those late stages of the game. So yeah, mate, nothing here to change me, but we have to slap Sheffield United. I don't want like a little 2-1 or a 1-0. I'm not asking for an 8-0, but I want convincing, like a 3-0 or something. Give me something like that.
Not asking much.
If not, what? Moyes out?
Listen, I'm not like Man United fans flip flop all the time.
We're not talking about Man United. I'm talking about you. Are you got? If not, what? Then Moyes out. Where have you get a draw?
I said I'm giving Moyes 10 games. I've said I'm giving Moyes 10 games, and then I'm
Another 10 games from now, or just when you get to 10 games from the
first
start?
10 games, I'm going to review. I'm going to assess.
Well, you got three wins, 1 draw, and two losses, which I expected.
Yeah. So far, so good. So far, so good. And obviously winning Europe.
Time to put some respect on David Moyes now. Come on.
Well, look, as long as, but it's like Cass was saying, right? If you're gonna play that type of football, win. So as long as he wins, I can accept it. If we're not winning, I can't accept it. Obviously, these type of games, I expect to play that kind of football against Liverpool and Man City anyway. But now we need to flex our muscles against Sheffield United. I don't want to see us, sitting back. Kudus has to start. I want to see him coming on and from the start and flexing his muscles. And
can you win the Europa League like Liverpool? Can you win it?
Yeah, we can. I mean, I thought it was pretty ridiculous of you to just sit there and you handed Liverpool the trophy without one game.
No, you're not winning it. As much as I want to say about teams that drop down from Champions League, whoever it is, I think it'll be too much for you.
Well, we said that last time. We got to the semi-final.
No, but that's Europa League opposition. We're talking about Champions League opposition. If Benfica or something, or Inter Milan or AC Milan drops down, come on, man.
So we got to a semi-final 2 seasons ago though, and there was teams dropped down. It's not this year. It's not a new rule that now teams drop down into the.
Maybe actually, you know what? Fair enough then. Yeah, you're not fair enough. He has got a shout in it. He does.
Yeah, I think again, I can't. Someone asked how far are we gonna get the competition? It's all about the draw.
Until Sevilla comes into the competition, don't matter.
Who?
Oh, Sevilla drops down. It don't matter. Better pray that they drop 4th.
We slapped them. What are you talking about? We slapped them.
For all of us if Sevilla end up in that competition.
We slapped them. We literally knocked them out.
It's just long, man.
You picked the worst team, Kaz, because they beat Seville.
We beat them.
It's always a lot, man.
Listen, let's move. West Ham. Big up West Ham. Big up West Ham. 7th place West Ham. They're going to win the Europa League.
When are we gonna get on to Billy though about his Europa?
Yeah, we will. I've got to let Kaz and Errol go because they've got to go. But then we'll go into Kaz. Big up, man. Thanks for coming on, bro. I know you got another show to do, but top lad, really appreciate you jumping on, man.
Yeah, cheers, man. It was decent to talk to the lads, different ones for once. Pete always goes missing. Don't really see him not much anymore. Billy's always nice chap. Lewis is around doing his own thing, doing the correct thing he should have done about 2 years ago, anyways. And then obviously Lawless, as always. It's a pleasure, man. Rattle job, man. You're only just missing D, but forgot he's not in Europe, is he? Because he supports a shit team we're playing. But Billy, man, don't let them slander you. You had a second string team out in Poland. Don't let them do it in a bit.
It's all right, mate. Don't worry.
Yes, Kaz. Errol, man, big up, man. Thanks for jumping on as ever. I know you got to shoot off, but it's always a pleasure speaking to you, my friend. And fair play to Liverpool, man.
Errol, just before you go, do you care that when you won the Premier League, you lost to, was it Watford? Do you care that you lost to Watford, or was it the most important thing that you got the trophy at the end of the season?
And I said this to you the other day. You have no pressure to go unbeaten in that competition. It makes no difference. The vase ain't going to be gold. So just win it. Just win it.
This is a cop out of epic proportions. This is such a cop out.
Taking it easy, Errol, mate.
Errol.
Peace.
Love, man.
Let's be real. I should be gold. Invincibles, man. We listen. People
just take your wars and just chill, man. Just go for a proper trophy this year. You're in one now, so go for a Europa League and we can talk, or an FA Cup even, and we can talk. Listen,
you ain't even won the Europa League, so I don't know why you're talking.
Well, I'm just talking about West Ham, man, not Arsenal. You know, you're the one with your chest out about West Ham. I'm not with my chest
No,
out
I'm
about
talking
Arsenal.
about Villa. I'm just saying, people really, I think, underestimated the job we did in that competition last season. A lot of people underestimate that competition. So far, 4 including us, English teams have been in it, right? And we're the only one who have gone unbeaten. Leicester got knocked out, and Spurs got knocked out, and Villa have just lost their first game and sit bottom of the group, I believe.
Are you worried, Billy?
No, I'm not. I think we'll bounce back. I think we'll.
Will you win the group,
be all right. I'm not fussed about winning the group. I just want to get through.
Yeah, but do you know why you got to be fussed about winning the group, right? Is because, like Cass was saying about teams dropping down, you get the Europa League. So basically, when Brighton drop down, you might draw Brighton.
All right, and we'll beat Brighton. We'll face that bridge. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. For the time being, we've still got another 5 games to go. We may go and win all 5. Who knows? You know, ask Argentina fans, are they fussed that they lost to Saudi Arabia? No, they don't care. They won the World Cup. Ask Spain fans in 2010, do they care that they lost their opening game? No, they won and they went and won the World Cup.
Are you captain hindsight now, yeah? Hindsight. We're talking about hindsight. Is that what we're talking about now? Because we can sit there and go, oh, I don't care in hindsight that we lost, but in isolation, if you would have looked at it and go, yeah, they've lost that game.
I still expect us to go on and win the competition. To be honest with you,
you expected to beat Legia Warsaw, didn't you?
We did expect to beat Legia Warsaw, and we didn't. But we've still got another 5 games in the group to play. It's not over until it's over. It's not over until it's over.
I'm not saying you're out.
Don't start clambering on me. All of this rubbish. We still expected to win.
I'm just saying. Let's just put the chest back a little bit. Put the chest back a
bit. Look, the situation is this: that Lawless needs you to go out, Billy, because it reinforces their win of the trophy. If you go and win the trophy, it dilutes their win, and you become that team to talk about.
They won't have done it unbeaten though. But they won't have done it unbeaten.
You could argue that it's even more of a triumph, Lawless, that they lost their first game.
Tell that to Arsenal fans then. Tell that to Arsenal fans who still go on about their invincibles then. Hey, it's more impressive to not win all your to not go unbeaten, Pots. Hey, the silver one is better than the gold one. So stick that.
You don't get gold. You don't get gold ones in the Europa Conference, man. Just chill.
Yeah, because it's a stupid gimmick that was just made up. There was no like rule that came out. It was like, oh yeah, let's just freaking give them a gold one. It's just a gimmick. That's all it is.
Billy, you must be happy though, man, because you did Chelsea. Well, I mean, it's not the hardest thing to do, it seems, at the moment, but you did manage to get the 3 points, mate. You got the W, and I know you lost midweek in Europe. Which, to be fair, I'm with Lawless. I was a bit shocked, man. I thought you beat him.
I was shocked. I was really disappointed with the performance. I was really disappointed with the fact that we lost. But like I say, there's another 5 games to play. It's not the end of the world. We're not out the competition. It's not a knockout stage tournament from the beginning. You know, it's
what happens when you finish third? Do you drop down, or is it what happens?
Don't worry about that. We'll be all right.
Oh yes, I listen. Just don't lose any more games in this competition, Billy. That's all I'm saying. You better hope that's a little speed bump. But I see Emery, man. He was looking very frustrated.
He was, understandably. I think Emery was every Villa fan in the world.
Yeah.
Villa will be all right, man. Villa will be all right.
I think that performance shows. I think Emery's the kind of manager that learns from performances like that, and he knows now, like the Stevenage result, the players who he can and who he can't trust. And I think that's a big thing, and Emery will.
Shout out Michael from Poland.
He's actually quite
well. Fair enough.
We got Billy Greens from Poland. Just a friendly reminder: the RB costs 12 million more than the whole Legia Warsaw squad. On a serious note, you're going to smash this group anyways. It was just a blip. I think you're going to go through the group enough.
Hopefully, that is the case, Michael.
I still think you'll win the competition. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Disrespect Legia Warsaw like that.
No, I'm not disrespecting them. I just said well played to them, but for me, Villa will win the whole thing. Liverpool win the Europa League, Man City win the Champions League, and Villa will win the Team
And what are
England.
you going to win?
What about the mighty West Ham?
Sweet F all, mate, probably.
There you go.
Sweet F all. I don't think we're going to win the league. I don't think we're going to win the Champions League. I don't think we're going to take the Carabao Cup seriously because we never have. So it's the FA Cup or nothing for me.
Billy, you better pray. Someone said that West Ham will drop down into the conference. You better pray that don't happen. You better pray we don't drop down into the conference, mate. We're going to beat
You're on one hand. One moment you're talking about winning the Europa League. Oh, Liverpool should be scared of us, and on the next hand you're talking about better hope we don't drop down.
No, I'm not saying we will drop down.
Billy, get it out. Get it out. Get it out. Yeah.
I bought the special Aston Villa one as well.
That's perfect because when you start making excuses when you don't win, you better get that out. But all I'm saying is we're going to win our
I'll be wearing them.
But people in the chat are saying, West Ham are going to drop down into the Conference League. What I'm saying is pray that don't happen because I think we'd be the Sevilla of that competition. And I think we haven't lost in Europe in like a long time. It's been a long time since we lost in Europe.
Won the Conference League once. So we're the Seville of that competition.
We didn't just win it, Potts. We dominated it. We dominated that.
Okay, mate. No problem. Go watch the final again, mate. Tell me you've dominated it.
I think we're the only team to go unbeaten in that competition.
It's only been going for 2 years, bro. Jesus Christ.
This is the third season. Of it. So.
Okay, 3 years. Oh, it's not even 3 years. But anyway, we'll get there. Wow. LB and Pete, let's come to you lastly, man. LB, might be time to apologise to Pete, man. After I'm not impressed with Newcastle the last few weeks. Not really sure. I think you can do a lot better. 8-0, man. How's that? That's not so bad from him, is it?
It's not so bad. I mean, they were playing Sheffield United, so let's not gas it up.
Yeah, but 8-0, you beat them 2-1, bro. Come on.
No. Well, how many points did they get for 8-0?
No, but they smashed them. They
No,
smashed them.
how many points did they get? They got 3 points.
Yeah, but it's about the performance, bro. You said they weren't impressed. You weren't impressed.
I just said, fair dues.
Getting any positives out of
I'm just,
no point coming too first.
Literally. No, I'm saying no. I tell you what, this has all been taken out of context. This has all been taken out of context, right? Because
Here we go.
All I've said about Newcastle is that I've been disappointed with them because I expected them to do better in the bigger games. That's all I said, mate. Not my problem. Some Newcastle fans got their back up about that comment. All right, if you want to get beat off City, you want to get beat off 10 men Liverpool, then be my guest. Don't affect me at the end of the day. All I'm saying is I want Newcastle to do well. I want Newcastle to get in the top 4. You know what I mean? I think it's good for the league. We're having fresh teams in the top 4. All I said was I thought they were disappointed against City and Liverpool. That's it, Bray. Is that fair? That's reasonable. I think that the 8-0 win against Sheffield United is decent.
Listen, it's Pete. Pete, what do you think? Is that fair, Pete? You're the Newcastle rep, man.
No, and look, I said this in the chat. I said fair play, if that's your opinion. We can't be happy with losing those games. We're not. Eddie Howe's not. We want to be competing. We want to be competing against the top teams. And yeah, we're disappointed to lose the games. But with Newcastle fans, we can see the bigger picture. We can see that we're still in that transition. We're still growing. We're still building. And so, is it the end of the world that we lost those games? No. If we'd have lost those games towards the back end of the season when we're actually fighting for something, it's a different story. But we're only a few games in, and we had that tough start to the season, and we've got through it. We've maneuvered out of it, and then we've gone in a big week. We've beat Brentford at home, nervy game, got the points, as LB says. That's all that matters. Went to the San Siro, first game in the Champions League, got a point. Very happy with that. And then we've backed that up. And Errol last week was questioning, were we able to go again after a Champions League and having exerted so much effort and emotion into that game? Were we able to go away at Bramall Lane and do the business? And we did, but we did it emphatically. So for me, that fills me with confidence that we're moving in the right direction. Are we going to lose games and draw games in the future? Yeah, we will. But it fills me with confidence that we've transitioned out of that period and we're moving in the right direction. So I get what you're saying. We want to be more competitive in these games, but we're still very, very early on in that transition. And I do believe that we will be competitive in this league. I said it right at the beginning of the season. We will be competitive in this league, and we will be competitive against some of the top teams in the Premier League. I know we will, but it was just a moment in time for me. And that was the point that I made on the back of that. And I stand by it.
That's fair. I think you'll get probably 5th or 6th position, in maybe 4th. But I think you'll finish in and around it. You know what I mean? I got problem with Newcastle. I actually think Newcastle will beat us on Wednesday. To be honest with you, I think we'll field a super weakened team because of all our injuries, and you'll probably beat us. But what I'm asking for Newcastle, right, is the manner. I thought the manner in which you played against City was poor. You know what I mean? The way you lost against Liverpool was extremely poor. All I'm asking from Newcastle, because I want Newcastle to do well, is to compete better in that midfield battle in those two games. I think you're right. I think the point that you got in the midweek in the Champions League was good. You're now playing in apparently an Mbappe-less PSG next week because apparently
he'll play.
He got off with an injury though, hasn't he? He's gone off with a muscle injury.
Yeah, but they've done that so he's ready for the Champions League. In my opinion, they can get by in the league without him. Like with the players that they've got, I think they'll probably rest him now, and he'll come to St James's Park and he'll play. Whether it's off the bench or not, he'll still play a part because they're still riding on this Champions League, getting through this league, this group phase. It's the most competitive of the lot, and they are going to need him to get through. And that's not just for us. When you've got AC Milan and Dortmund, it's a very competitive league, and any one of those teams in that group phase can finish in any one of those positions. They're going to need him. So I'm not worried about that. But you're right. Against Man City, we weren't good enough. The midfield wasn't good enough. We weren't strong enough. We didn't turn up. But I'm okay with that to a point, as long as the next time that we are competitive. So when we play you at St James's Park, I expect us to be competitive and go again. I expect the next time that we play Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, whoever it is that traditional top 6 that we're competitive. It wasn't a great performance. The Liverpool one, although I was disappointed more so than many other Newcastle fans about that performance, you cannot say that up until the 75th minute that we were the better team, because we were.
I agree.
Even when they had 11 men before and Van Dijk got sent off, we were winning 1-0. We were by far the better team.
Correct, but it don't matter.
So for me, the crumble is unforgivable, and I said that at the time. But for me, the fact that we went toe to toe with Liverpool and we dominated them with 11 men, and we controlled the game up until that point that we made the changes, and it's clear that's where it went wrong. And I think Eddie Howe would admit that in private, that he made the wrong subs. That also fills me with confidence, despite us losing the game. So for me, the only two that really stand out for me is the Man City one at the Etihad. We should have done better. And the one at Brighton is where a lot of those players threw in the towel. It wasn't good enough.
Can I ask you a question, Pete? Do you think that I know obviously Joe Linton's injured at the moment, but do you think maybe having Joe Linton, Tonali and Bruno, do you think that can work? Do you think that's going to work based on obviously the small amount of data that you've seen from watching Newcastle? Do you think maybe Longstaff offers you a little bit more protection in that midfield?
LB, just look at the last week and it tells you everything you need to know. Longstaff last season was absolutely key to that midfield working. Now, would anyone in the top half of the Premier League want Sean Longstaff? No, they wouldn't. But for this team in this midfield, he offers the protection that allows Bruno to go forward. There's no surprise that in the last week, Bruno's played 3 of his best games for Newcastle with Longstaff in the team. Last season, when he had Longstaff, it gives him the license to go forward, dictate the play, control possession, and do whatever, and not have to do the recovery runs that he's been doing early on in the season and getting caught out for it, because Longstaff does the dirty work. It allows him to play. Do I think they can play? I think Tonali, Bruno, and Longstaff can play in that position. I actually see Joe Linton coming back and playing more as an alternative option for for Gordon on the left. And I think they may well transition Barnes. And Barnes is injured. I'm gutted for him, by the way. It looks like he's broke a bone in his foot, so he might be out for a while.
Oh no.
I think they'll transfer him to the right and be an alternative option for Miggy. In my opinion, I think that's what they'll look to do. And we're forgetting Joe Willock. Joe Willock as a ball carrier in midfield was so crucial for us, and we've not seen him. He didn't have no preseason. He got fit from his hamstring injury, then he got an Achilles injury, so he's out until after October. I just think when we get those options back, and they'll be back soon. Joe Linton, I think, will be back for the West Ham game. I think Willock will be back just after. I think we will then start to really build. And look, we haven't talked about it, and I think we should, because, yeah, I know kind of you played it down, LB, but that was emphatic, the way we played against Sheffield United. If you look at Sheffield United's results, other than the Palace game, the first game of the season, they've only lost by the odd goal and late on. Man City late on. Tottenham in the 100th minute. You know what I mean? They've been competitive in all those games, but we wiped the floor with them. And I didn't expect it. I thought we'd win 2-3-1. We absolutely dismantled them and embarrassed them. Absolutely embarrassed them. And for me, that fills me with confidence that we're moving in the right direction. The way in which we did it, we've got players coming back playing well. 3 clean sheets in a week from the back
8
five.
different scorers, man. That was what was mad.
Well, we created history. What is it? 8-0 is the highest away score, or one of the highest away scores. But it's the 8 different scorers, which is key, and that's important as well. I mean, I don't know what you guys think. Look, Lawless, you kind of laughed it off in January. Anthony Gordon, waste the money, 45 million. He's been one of our best players this season. And he didn't have a good season. He was in transition at the back end of last season, but he is properly turning it on. And against Liverpool, he was unplayable. Against Villa at St. James's Park, he was unplayable. Yeah, he might have had 1 or 2 games where he wasn't. Against Man City, he weren't great. Against Brighton. Brentford, he was rested. But then he comes on as a sub against Sheffield United and completely changes the game for us. We've got players that are really starting to build into this season. Callum Wilson's
got to be a starter at some point, though. 45 mil, Pete. Shouldn't he be expected to be in the team week in, week out eventually?
He is. He was rested because he played. They rested him against Brentford because Barnes needed minutes, so he played, and then they played him in San Siro, and then we're going to rest him again because I think he was going to play he's going to play midweek against Man City. So they rested him there because they're trying. Look, this is new to us. We're trying to manage a squad here. We can't have these players exert that sort of energy and play week in, week out. And we've got players that can come in. But I actually think he came on and changed the game for us. I do think he'll probably play on Wednesday as well. But you can't not deny that he is playing extremely well at the moment. 2 goals already this season, a couple of assists on his belt, and he's showing is exactly what the reason why Eddie Howe paid the money he did, the 40 million, slapped it down. If he continues this over the season, and beyond, 40 million's a slip. It's an absolute slip.
Do you think, though, Pete, that playing those 2 games a week against the level of competition you are is going to take its toll? Because even when you feel like you have a week off, we're playing Lincoln on Wednesday, right? You're playing Man City, one of the most dominant teams this competition's ever seen. So you're not really getting that chance to fully rotate. PSG and Dortmund and Milan, it's over this period, it can take its toll. So I think you play PSG before you play us. I'm looking at that and going, right, I'm expecting Newcastle to put out the full strength team they can possibly put. And then they're coming to us, and there might be some hangover for that. We faced it in Europa League, that hangover of having to play stronger teams in the late, and then going on the weekend.
Lawrence, it's the big question that I have for this team this season, 110%, is that can we, and this is why I was so impressed with Sunday, can we go after a European exertion and go at the weekend and go again and play well? We've proven it this week. We've got Man City Wednesday, and then we've got Burnley on Saturday. So it's a fixture I expect us to win. I expect us to beat Burnley. But then we've got PSG on the Wednesday, and then we go to your place. And it's whether we can continue doing that. You know, the squad, we lost Barnes, which is not ideal, but then we're almost kind of gaining Joe Linton back. And Joe Linton can play on the left-hand side. He scored 8 goals there last season, 7-8 goals there last season. So we're kind of getting a player back. So it's not the worst thing in the world on the back of that. That's the big question for me. And this is the big question for Eddie Howe. Can he rotate the squad and still be successful?
Is that your place, Pete? Or is it
Sorry?
City? On Wednesday? Is it who's?
It's at St. James's. It's at St. James's.
They'll beat us on Wednesday. I don't know.
There is talk. There is talk that Man City are going to play a weakened squad. But look, we've heard that from Pep before.
Nah, bro. This time though, we are. Pep basically said in the conference that he's sacking.
Go on then, LB. LB, tell me then. What's your team going to be? I bet it's not that weak. But go on, tell me what the team will be then.
I mean, Sergio Gomez will start for one. Calvin Phillips will probably start. Oscar Bob from the academy, who's played about 5 or 10 minutes, he'll probably start. Don't know. I don't know, but I just know we don't want it because the problem is we got what Liverpool had a few years ago. We're in Saudi Arabia in December for Club World Cup, and the semi-final of the Carabao Cup is at the same time. And do you remember when Liverpool had to play their academy on one day, and then they played their full team in the club? Like, I just don't think City want that. Because what's the point? It's just dead, innit? So I think we'll just. I'm already prepared. In my head, we've already lost on Wednesday, but I'm just going to be excited to see some of our fringe players get some minutes.
I think we'll make changes too. So we saw Livramento come on. We saw Lewis Hall get his debut. He came on for a little bit of time. I think those guys may well start. I think we will readjust the squad. Will in the chat, Newcastle fan from Loaded, has mentioned Murphy. I think the likes of Murphy will come in and get minutes. But regardless of who we play and regardless of who Man City play, I want to win. I see the cups, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup as an opportunity for us to win a trophy. Potts, you said it. Every one of us on this panel should be looking for a trophy, some way, shape, or form. Villa, Conference, Lawless, Europa League, LB, probably the lot. Potts, you're going to want to be winning either the Carabao, FA Cup, or the Premier League. You're going to want to be fighting for that. I want us to have an opportunity to at least win a trophy somewhere or be competing for it. So for me, I want us to win on Wednesday, regardless of the team that we put out. I do expect us to give Man City a game, so it's going to be interesting. But
here's a question.
The priority for me, although I want us to win this game on Wednesday, is that we go and beat Burnley on Saturday. We have to beat Burnley and continue this rise. You know, you'll
beat Burnley. They don't look outstanding, Burnley. LB, let me ask you this question, man, before we come to a close. Have everybody left here, apart from City, who's got the best chance of winning a trophy this season? West Ham, Arsenal, Villa, or Newcastle?
Oh, that's a little teaser, that, isn't it? I'd probably say, I might say Arsenal, Carabao Cup.
Probably Villa Conference.
No, he's seen that.
I thought you go Villa, but fair enough.
No. Well, Carabao Cup though, like City, City and Newcastle, whoever wins on Wednesday, neither team is going to take it that seriously. If City win, we're going to take it that seriously going forward. And no, Newcastle, they got bigger fish to fry. And
will they take it seriously though? Arsenal, like with them in the Champions League, and they want to.
They need to win trophies though, Lawless, bro. Arsenal needs to win
we
trophies.
Know that, but they think they can rotate. You know what I mean? So they probably.
I'm with Lawless. I don't know Arteta will go strong on Wednesday. We can't.
They got.
I don't think we can. We got 6 players out, so we're gonna have to try and field as strong as we can.
They're already getting. So
it's going to be Ramsdale in goal. Our best back 4 is still there: Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, and Zinchenko. We're going to have to play Jorginho, Havertz, and El Neni, and then we're going to have to play a front 3 of, if you want it strong, Saka if he is fit, but he walks hobbling off, Nelson, Smith Rowe, Jesus, something like that.
If he plays Saka in that game,
Brentford.
Clown. He's a clown if he plays Saka in that game. When is the boy going to get a rest? If he plays against Brentford.
Well, this is it. I don't think it's going to be a definite win on Wednesday for Arsenal. We've depleted already. If we're playing a reserve side, it's
Maybe
a
Villa then.
struggle.
I don't know. I just think for me, I look at Newcastle and think for me their priority. I know they're desperate to win a trophy and they get it, but for me their priority is getting back in the Champions League. I think West Ham are now in a senior competition. So if they was in the Conference League, yeah, maybe, but they're in Europa League. That's tough. Villa, yeah, they've got a decent chance and they've got a manager who knows how to win that trophy. Arsenal, man, I worry for you in the sense that like you're not going to win the Premier, you're not going to win the Champions League, and now you're telling me they're going to rotate in the Carabao Cup. So what you got left the FA Cup? Fair dues, man.
I don't know that we are, but I imagine that is what will happen. I hope we don't, LB. I want to go for domestic cup. We got Brentford at Brentford.
There you go.
That's
I want to know, LB, what you think about how much of a clown Rodri is. Like, we ain't even mentioned that.
Yeah. What the hell was that? I watched your watch along, by the way, LB. I wanted to see your reaction, and I was like, I saw your 2 goals. You're going mental, obviously, fair play to you. And then I saw that, and you was just like, I don't know. You were all over the place emotionally, weren't you? You were like, what are you doing? You idiot. That's not a red card. It is. Oh, my God. What's he doing?
No, it was a red
I don't
card.
think it is.
Card.
Oh, it is. I can't believe it. And I
One
was
of
like,
them.
wow,
It's
you're all over the place.
silly from him, but ultimately, I don't really think it affects our season in the slightest.
There's some key games he's going to miss, though. Obviously,
what Wolves? I've already said he wouldn't have played against Newcastle on Wednesday anyway, bro. So that's
no, it's the Arsenal game. You know, that's the game,
bro. You know what's mad, Lawless? Yeah, the confidence running through my veins for any match that we play other than Newcastle on Wednesday is so high. I'm buzzing. Yeah, we're gonna go to Arsenal without Kevin De Bruyne and Rodri. I still think we'll dick them, to be honest with you. Honestly, what Pep Guardiola has done to me, he's just made me into this fan that just believes we'll just win every game, and it's just because the way we play, we just win every game, man. The guy's just a genius, and he found a way to win anything without a striker. He found a way to win anything without Kevin De Bruyne, and he'll find a way to win without Rodri. It's just too good, mate. Pep Guardiola's too good, and I reckon, regardless of who plays at Emirates, we'll get the result, man. They ain't beat us. Other than
you'll miss him though. You'll miss Rodri. He's unreal. Man.
Calvin Phillips, man. Don't speak down on that guy, mate.
Yeah. Coming from LB, who's not a fan.
He needs to start getting some. He needs to be playing every game, man. He needs to be playing in every game and getting as much, even in the cup games, all of that, because he needs minutes.
Well, he will now. He will now.
Yeah. No, I know. But even if they're thinking about, longing off the Newcastle game or whatever and going, I'll play a kid.
Nah, he'll play all 3 of them now. He'll play all 3 of them.
He's got to get minutes into his legs for the league, hasn't he?
That's if he cares about him, bro. We still have Kovacic and Nunes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a crazy situation.
Will he play Kovacic then?
I think what he'll do is, I think on Wednesday against Newcastle, he'll play Phillips and see how he gets on. And I think if he does well, he might give Phillips more. But if he doesn't, he'll just play Kovacic and Phillips with Alvarez in front. That's what he'll do. And by the way, we got Nunes and Kovacic for just slightly more than Arsenal paid for Kai Havertz. So what a bit of business that was.
Yeah, that's what I mean. No, it's facts though. That is facts. I can't even lie to that. Okay, then LB, let's play a little game then, shall we? Seeing as your confidence with your chest out, let's play a little game. Name me the number of the game week that you're going to win the league. Game week number what, my friend?
I think it's. I think it'll be something like 33, 34.
Yeah.
Okay, that's more than I thought. I thought you were going to go for game week 29, 30 or something like that.
Well, there's still over 10 points to play.
Are we talking about mathematically, though? Are you talking about mathematically winning? Like,
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
I reckon like match day 33, match day 40, 34, yeah, something like that.
Anyone going lower or higher than that?
Yeah, I think maybe like 29, 30. Like teams will be mathematically within, but not realistically having a chance to win it. But I don't think it'll be mathematically wrapped.
So with 30, if they win it on match day 30, that means they'll be 25 points ahead of the second place.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That's going to be hard to. No, I don't. I don't think so. But I think it's going to be like Lawless says. I think it's going to be one of them where they're not mathematically. They've not mathematically done it, but City aren't going to lose 8 games on the spin, are they? For it to be mathematically.
I think 35. I think 35.
I was going to go game week 34. That was what I was going to say. I'm with LB.
What's the record, LB? Like,
I think it'll be comfortable. I think it'll be comfortable for Man City. I think people, you'll keep whoever is second or third, you'll keep them at a distance. So you're always going to be, like Billy said, with 3-4 games to go, you know you're going to get at least 3 points from one of those, and you're going to be comfortable, because it goes into the point where I think you're going to start then prioritizing the Champions League at that point, and you'll probably rotate the squad to play in the Premier League because you know it's going to be comfortable at that point.
Arsenal fans will still be talking about 10 points behind. We still have a chance. It's not mathematically over till it's over. They could lose to Luton on the weekend, and we could beat our team, and all of that nonsense they're talking about last
You can hear it now. You're not actually wrong. There will be some fans out there that will say that. Fair play, man. Listen, we're gonna come to a close. Before I do that, let's get some predictions. Then are we all in the Carabao Cup or not? We are, aren't we?
I think so.
It's Chelsea. Spurs are out of it, isn't they?
Spurs are out. Lawless, who you
It's
got?
our first game, innit? Because we're all in Champions.
Lincoln City away. Lincoln City away. Our first game also in the cup because we're.
What are you saying?
Big trophy boys. What am I saying? Yeah, we're gonna beat. We should beat Lincoln. We should be able to rotate and beat Lincoln City away. We're not this team now that has these embarrassing losses away like this. We were professional, so we'll beat Lincoln away. We'll beat them.
And then Sheffield United going for a win.
Oh, Sheffield United. Yeah. Like 3-0. 3-0 West. This first clean sheet of the season.
Is it your place?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
First
you'll beat
clean sheet of the season.
What I will say is that there was rumours before the Newcastle game, and there's more rumours now that Chris Wilder might be taking over and they might sack their manager. And you know what Chris Wilder did? He got them playing some decent football. So if that happens before the weekend, it may well change things, but who knows?
I wouldn't be surprised. Just give the new manager bounce for when they play us. That'd be typical, wouldn't it?
Well, we'll see, man. We'll see. We got Brentford. I think we'll beat Brentford 2-1, and I think we'll beat Bournemouth 2-0 at Bournemouth. That's what I'm going for.
Wow.
LB, you've said you're going to lose on Wednesday.
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen then? With that Wednesday and the weekend, go on, talk.
Yeah, we'll get beat off Newcastle, and then weekend we got Wolves away, and yeah, I think we should win that game. I think actually Wolves don't look like the worst side in the world. I've watched them a few times. You know, they were unlucky against United, unlucky against Liverpool. Just can't finish the dinner, unfortunately for them. But I think in the end we'll have too much for them. So yeah, an first L of the season coming up against Newcastle, and then back on winning ways on Saturday. That's my prediction.
Fair play, man. Pete?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be as weak a squad as what some rumour in. It happened before. You can't quite trust Pep, but look, I want us to win, so I'm going to say we're going to win. We're at St James's Park, so I say a win in the Carabao Cup, and look, the more important game in my opinion is getting Burnley out the way. We need to win that one, and I think we will. I think we will by a couple of goals. So yeah, 2 wins, and then it's PSG.
Yeah, man. Look at that. Newcastle back at the top. You can see Pete's loving it. Billy, what are you saying, bro?
Everton on Wednesday, I think it is. I think we'll play a similar team to the team that lost in Poland. I think that'll be a chance for Emery to go, all right, you disappointed me last week. Go and show me what you made of this week.
Writing off the carrot now, yeah? You're just going to write it off like that.
Exactly, yeah.
You've got bigger fish to fry. You've got bigger fish to fry. Is that it?
Yeah,
you can beat Everton, man. Everton are nothing, man. Trust me.
No,
I know they won the week.
I think we'll beat Everton, and then the bigger fish to fry being Brighton early kickoff on Saturday. It's going to be a tough game, but we've got a decent record against Brighton in recent years. I think it's going to be a 1-1 though. I don't think. I think at Villa Park, like I mentioned earlier, we've got a 10-game winning run at the minute. Everton games at Villa Park as well, so we could make that 11 before Brighton. But Brighton are such a good side at the minute, you know. It's going to be a hard game for both teams, I think. So I think a draw, by looking at it now, I think a draw would probably be fair, and I think both teams would probably take a draw. But yeah,
that's going to be high scoring. That's going to be high scoring in that game. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game, Brighton Villa. I really do. I really think that. So yeah, man, we shall see.
I hope not.
Lawless, by the way, you're just so I know your prediction. Yeah, your top 7. You had West Ham 7th. You obviously had City to win, Liverpool second, Spurs third, Arsenal fourth.
Yeah.
Who did you have fifth and sixth ahead of West Ham?
I'm sure Man United was one of them teams.
United and
And-
Chelsea, wasn't it?
Was it?
Brighton.
When it
Was it Man
Oh,
United and Brighton?
Brighton, yeah.
Yeah, Brighton, Man United and Brighton. Yeah.
Okay,
That
that's
was it.
cool. I just couldn't. I couldn't
It's
remember
so
that.
far, it's not looking crazy. It's not looking crazy. People thought I was crazy at the time, but it's starting to take shape.
We'll see, man. We'll
But
see.
by the way, people kept asking about going, did he get away with not saying about Antonio? I'll quickly just summarize it. It's all good being confident. You got to back it up on the pitch. First half, he did good, but you got to be finishing them chances. So we'll see. If he does, listen, maybe if he bullies them when they come to our ground, scores goals, he'll have a redemption arc. But yeah, look, banter him away. You put your neck out on the line, you got to be able to take it. And he put his neck out on the line, he didn't quite deliver. So there you go. Happy Liverpool
No, that's
fan.
fair. That's fair from you, man. That is fair from you, to be honest. Listen, we're going to leave it there. Make sure you do me a favor, people. I've just checked. We are 6 away from 12K. Literally 6 subscribers away from 12K. Make sure you do us a favor and smash the subscribe button. Like the video as well. And then we're at 10K. Should be at 10K overnight. And that'll be amazing. Make sure you go follow all of these guys on socials at The Lawless West Ham Fan TV. It's LB for all your City content. Loaded Mag in UFC for all of your Newcastle content. Of course, Pete at Dave's 2010. And then Billy on the Total Screamers podcast and at AV Billy. Make sure you go follow Errol as well. And of course, Kaz on Never a Foul. Big up all of you in the chat. Thank you so much. Please get us to 12K. Please smash a like and we'll see you next time. Take it easy, people.